Welcome to Quickcasts from Yoga for First Responders. I'm Eric Brenneman, and in these bite-sized episodes, we'll bring you quick insights and practical tips on the power of yoga, breathwork, mindfulness, and meditation specifically for first responders. Whether you're on a quick break or between calls, we've got a nugget of wisdom to help you stay resilient and focused. Let's dive right in. I want to frame this conversation clearly from the start. I'm a firefighter by background. I've spent years inside the culture. I've worn the gear. I've lived the shifts. And as most of you know, today I serve as the president of Yoga for First Responders. But this conversation isn't about firefighters alone. Everything we're talking about today applies just as much to law enforcement, dispatch, EMS, corrections, and emergency healthcare. Different uniforms, same nervous systems, same exposure, same cumulative stress load, and the same mistakes that we keep making. We wait too long. One of the most dangerous myths in public safety is the idea that burnout happens suddenly. It doesn't. Burnout is not a bad week. It's not one critical incident. And it's definitely not a lack of toughness. Burnout is the end stage of an untreated stress injury. And stress injuries behave exactly like physical ones. They accumulate, they compound, and they show warning signs long before failure. In public safety, we understand this perfectly when it comes to our physical bodies. Our knees hurt, our shoulders get stuck, our backs constantly in pain. No one is shocked when those eventually break down. But when the nervous system starts showing wear, we act surprised, as if years of hypervigilance, sleep disruption, emotional suppression, and identity pressures should somehow leave no mark. Quite frankly, that's not strength, it's burying our head in the sand, it's truly denial. Here's the uncomfortable truth. We in public safety have normalized conditions that would be considered unsustainable in almost any other profession. Chronic sleep disruption, constant exposure to threats and trauma, little time to downshift between calls, and cultures that quietly reward self-neglect as commitment to the duty. When everyone around you feels exhausted, irritable, disconnected, or numb, quite frankly, it starts to feel normal. But normal and common does not mean healthy. And when we label unhealthy conditions as, quote, just part of the job, unquote, we stop asking better questions. We stop asking things like, what is this doing to people? What is this doing to me over time? What is it costing us as an agency operationally? And what would happen if we happened to intervene earlier? Most organizations in public safety are not ignoring mental health. It's a major talking point. They care deeply. But caring deeply and having a strategy are not the same thing. Right now, most systems are built to respond to crisis, not prevent the injury. Right now, most systems, most agencies are built to respond to the crisis, not prevent the injury. We typically step in when we see performance dropping, when behavior changes, when conflict increases. Or, if we're lucky enough, when someone finally says, I'm not okay. That's when we then deploy resources historically, things like EAP, peer support, critical incident response. All of those are necessary and all of them are important. But quite frankly, they're all downstream. This is the equivalent of only treating injuries once someone can no longer work. Prevention, on the other hand, means intervening before someone reaches that point. And that requires a completely different approach. And at YFFR, Yoga for First Responders, this is where our work lives. We don't teach people to relax. We don't sell positivity. And we don't ask people to just be resilient. We teach a skill set, skills that help regulate the nervous system under stress, skills that can improve recovery between the calls, skills that allow people to shift gears instead of staying stuck in high alert or hypervigilance. Because stress isn't a mindset problem. Quite frankly, it's a physiological problem. And physiology can be trained. But here's the catch. Individual skills will only go so far if the organization doesn't understand why they matter. Culture doesn't change because someone took a class. Culture changes when leaders understand what's actually happening beneath the surface. When leaders understand how stress injuries develop, what early warning signs look like, and how prevention supports performance, not weakness. Leaders then stop waiting for the crisis. They start building systems that protect people before the damage accumulates. This is why we've expanded our work beyond our instructor schools and into leadership conversations. Because prevention isn't a personal responsibility alone. It's an organizational responsibility. If this resonates with you, here's the invitation. We offer leadership briefings designed specifically for public safety decision makers. These briefings help leaders understand why burnout is an injury and not a failure, why reactive approaches will always fall short, and how prevention can be integrated into training, culture, and yes, even daily operations. This isn't about adding another program. It's about shifting the timeline, acting earlier, training smarter, protecting longevity of your people. If you want to learn more about yoga for first responders or have a leadership briefing within your organization, check the link in the show notes. Listen, prevention doesn't replace support. It does reduce the need for crisis. And at the end of the day, that's leadership.
Hey, before we go, I want to remind you that training your mental and physical health is incredibly important, especially for those working in high-stress jobs like first responders.
And if you're interested in learning more about yoga for first responders, visit yogaforfirstresponders.org for our on-demand training app, online course platform, in-person training, and more.
Like this podcast, subscribe, and give us a great review. We are so happy to have you part of the YFFR mission.